contigo. Oscar, querido, el pueblo está 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 contigo. USA, out of Puerto Rico. 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 USA, out of Puerto Rico.
33 encarcelados,
Pero nunca derrotado.
33 encarcelados,
Pero nunca derrotado.
33 encarcelados,
Pero nunca derrotado. Pero nunca derrotado. Pero nunca derrotado.
Si le pudiera dar un mensaje a Oscar, le diría que en persona yo estoy bastante conmovido en pensar nada más de que hoy día se cumplen 33 años de su encarcelamiento y que en realidad me toca bien adentro, en el corazón, tenerlo que pensarlo minuto a minuto, que eso es así, porque es como uno pensaría, ¿verdad? Y como yo he leído también, que leí algo, no sé si es algo bíblico, que dice que mi cuerpo estará libre, pero mi corazón está preso. Lo que quiere decir que aunque mi cuerpo esté aquí, mi corazón está con él, porque estoy pensando en él.
Your democracy is hypocrisy.
Oscar López free.
Your democracy is hypocrisy.
Oscar López free.
Oscar López free. Your democracy is hypocrisy.
Oscar López free.
Your democracy is hypocrisy.
Oscar López free. Oscar López.
Your democracy is hypocrisy.
Oscar López free.
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 33 encarcelados,
Pero nunca derrotado. Derrotado. Oscar López Rivera. Oscar López Rivera. Oscar López Rivera. Queremos ver afuera.
USA,
Out of Puerto Rico. USA.
out of Puerto Rico,
USA.
out of Puerto Rico.
Brothers and sisters, 33 years ago, Oscar López Rivera was arrested for being a part of las Fuerzas Armadas de la Liberación Nacional, the FALN, an organization, a revolutionary socialist independentista organization. He was arrested as a part of a witch hunt against independentistas. He was arrested. He has had his human rights, civil rights violated. The brother has been put in two of the worst prisons in the world. He has been emotionally, physically, psychologically abused. But despite all of that, the brother is still a revolutionary. He is still saying, Libertad para Puerto Rico. The campaign to destroy Oscar and to destroy all of our political prisoners was not successful. To this day, the compañero is still clear. I want to read something that Oscar wrote. He sent it out to a lot of the organizations that are doing events today. This was published in El Nuevo Día in Puerto Rico and has been published in a lot of websites, blogs, Twitter, everywhere. To love the homeland costs nothing. What would be costly is if we lose it. For any Puerto Rican who has doubts about how costly it would be if we lose our homeland, I suggest that person should visit the Navajos or the Lakota reservations, because there the person can see what happens to people who lose their homeland. We must face the truth and deal with it. As Puerto Ricans, we have to accept the fact that Puerto Rico is a colony and that colonialism is unacceptable to most Puerto Ricans and to most nations in the world. If we accept this truth, then we must be ready and prepared to kickstart a decolonization project. This project must call for the unity of all the factions that make up the independence movement and of the progressive elements that see the need to create our nation. A decolonization project goes beyond a constitutional convention. We have to make sure the U.S. government and the international community, especially the Latin American countries, assume their responsibilities and commit themselves to help with the implementation of freedom. We have to define the role of the Puerto Rican diaspora is going to play. We know any problem created by man has a solution. Colonialism is a man-created problem. We also know we have the human resources in Puerto Rico and in the Puerto Rican diaspora to resolve this problem. We know that in almost a century of being a U.S. colony, the development of our nation has been thwarted and derailed. We know we have a debt that will take many future generations to repay. We can't allow for future generations to inherit nothing but debt and social, political, and economic problems. Let's face the problem of our colonial status. Let's work to find the solution for it. Let's decolonize our minds and our spirits and become citizens of Puerto Rico. For people who have said that I don't want to come out of prison, I would like to suggest that they pay attention to what I have said during all the years I have been in the gulags and some of the history of our political prisoners. The fact that I'm the Puerto Rican political prisoner who has spent more time in prison doesn't erase the fact that other Puerto Rican political prisoners have spent almost as many years as I have. For example, Carlos Alberto spent over 30 years in prison, and Don Oscar López spent 29. Rafael Cáncer Miranda spent 27, and Lolita Lebron and Irving Flores Rodriguez spent 25, and Andrés Figueroa Cordero spent 24. Many of the compañeros who came out of prison when Clinton allowed them to be released in 1999 spent 19 years, and others over 16. There's a lot of years spent by Puerto Rican political prisoners. If we were to ask any of the above-mentioned political prisoners if they wanted to come out of prison, their answer would be on the affirmative. None of us wanted to be in prison in the first place, and none of us have entertained the absurd idea of staying in prison. Before coming to prison, I had a life full of great experiences. I enjoyed and celebrated that life. And while inexperienced, I still feel I have had a life and that I can celebrate all of my life for all the great things it has given me. I don't have hatred or fear in my heart, and I do want to leave prison with my honor, my dignity, and my spirit intact, safe, and sound. I believe the truth will survive and prevail, just like our just and noble cause has been able to do for centuries. I'm a Puerto Rican, and I don't want to be anything else, but I consider myself also a citizen of this universe we live in. I believe a better and more just world is possible, and that's one of the main reasons I choose to struggle for independence of the independence of my homeland. I say woe to him or her who has no homeland. Much love. En resistencia y lucha, Oscar López Rivera. ¡Que viva Puerto Rico! Brothers and sisters, we cannot win this movement without the support of our allies. Before we continue on, we have an amazing gift. This gift is named Lynn Stewart, a longtime friend of the Puerto Rican struggle, longtime friend of all struggles. We want Lynn to say something to us, a compañera that has been behind Puerto Rico for decades. Welcome to our freed sister, Lynn Stewart.
I would get up there, but too much traveling. I have a bulging disc. I'm not going to risk it. But I'm so happy to be here This is something I would not miss, and I will not miss the dance next week. And I'm going to bring everybody out for the dance and the dinner. So I tell you, we are so fortunate to be here. I am so fortunate to be here. And I repeat what Ralph said to me when he first met me at the prison gate on December 31st. He said, 1 out, 149 to go. And you know that Oscar is one of those 149. He's one that we must release, we must get free. I am happy for Oscar that he has such wonderful support, that people show out on a cloudy, chilly day to march and chant and call for his great love, which is Puerto Rican independence. So I'm happy to be here. I'm going to do all that I can. That's why I got out. And you know, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for all of you. Yeah. Because all of you helped in somebody signed a petition or made a phone call or spoke to someone and said, what about that lawyer? It's all come together, and that's what we have to do for all the political prisoners, and particularly Oscar, because he is so very, very worthy of our support and love, and what else can I say, loyalty for it. So I'm very happy to be here. I'm looking forward not to more demonstrations, but to welcoming Oscar when he steps through those prison gates, because that's what it's all about, coming back here. And it is really, really wonderful.
Thank you for everything you have done.
Thank you.
It's a reminder, we got work to do. We're talking about bringing all our political prisoners home. We got to keep doing like we're doing today. And we got to stay unified and stand in solidarity. And don't let this system come between us, because when we unified and we working together, we can accomplish but so much. It's through the unity and the work and the demand of the public that brought our sister Lynn Stewart home. It's because of the unity and the work that we all took part in that brought our brother Mumia off of death row, that brought Russell Schultz out of solitary, that brought our Puerto Rican brothers and sisters home in 1999. Our effort, our work, and the demand of the public, through us working together and being unified. And by us doing this, we can continue to bring all of our freedom fighters home. So like I said, this won't be too long. Let's keep working together. Let's keep up the good work. And by doing that, we can bring home Oscar. We can bring home Mumia. We can bring home David Gilbert. We can bring home Leonard Peltier, Joy Powell, the Move 9, and all our political prisoners home. So with that, in closing, I just want to say, keep up the good work. Free Oscar, free all political prisoners. On the move.
We had to make sure Mumia was present here today, because Mumia has written and spoken some of the most amazing analysis on Puerto Rico. One of the best journalists. He puts many Puerto Rican journalists to shame with his clarity, and this is a man in jail. Brothers and sisters, the most powerful force in the Puerto Rican community is the Puerto Rican woman.
That's right.
And the women have been coming out strong. Once a month for Oscar. I want to introduce Iris Colon, representing 33 Mujeres NYC por Oscar.
Woo! Iris!
I'm short, so I have to thank you for all being here. We are a group of women, 33 women for Oscar. We started in response to the 32 women for Oscar that started in Puerto Rico. Marina here and I see Natasha were the ones that got everything together for New York City to bring 33 women, Puerto Rican women and our allies to come out in different places of the city and protest and make sure that people know about Oscar, educate the public, which is something very important. We have to educate not only our people, but other people so they become allies. When you explain the case of Oscar to regular people, they understand 33 years is too much. When you explain them that seditious conspiracy is a political charge, it is nothing else but a political charge that was used against George Washington, he's no different than Mandela. He's no different than Gandhi. He's no different than any other. This Oscar López Rivera is our Mandela, our Puerto Rican Mandela. Mumia is also somebody that has not only written about it, about Oscar, but you know, people that are familiar, progressive forces are familiar with the incarceration of Mumia, is also an injustice. What they've done to Peltier, what they've done to many, many political prisoners. This country cannot continue the hypocrisy that it has, saying that this is the land of the free and justice reigns for all. When you have political prisoners, it's impossible. You cannot claim that you are a country of human rights when you have political prisoners, when people think differently than you, when people protect and fight for the liberation of their people. It is not fair, it is unjust. 33 years is enough. 40-something years for Peltier is more than enough. Mumia, more than enough. I'm sick of it. It's time that these people are brought home. I'm glad to see Lynn, because everybody here, I'm pretty sure, has something to do. I did some petitions for her and all this. I'm happy to see her here, standing with us. And I'm happy, and I hope that Mumia one day is here with us, fighting for. I hope that we don't have to fight for any more political prisoners. But the problem is that when some people fight for their rights, there's always gonna be political prisoners. When people fight for their right to self-determination, to end colonialism, to end imperialism, these things are gonna happen. We have to continue to fight. That is what we can give to society. We have to teach our children, we have to teach our communities, we have to unite our communities. We're in a different social political scale. So we have to fight harder. And that's all. That's enough. 33 years is enough. Let's go and let's keep fighting.
We have 2 parades dedicated to Oscar this year, a major accomplishment.
All right.
The Bronx Parade on June 1st and June 8th, the National Parade has been dedicated in honoring Oscar López Rivera. We put in the permit and we have a huge contingent. We have all the wristbands already. So everybody here, you're welcome to come to the June 8th parade. Bring your banners, bring your flags, you know, do a show of force. We have to come out with 1,000 people in that contingent for Oscar to send a clear message to the White House, to Obama, to give Oscar presidential pardon this year. And I want to show you, I have a letter from Oscar.
All right.
Okay, I keep Oscar informed what's happening in New York.
Bravo.
And this letter, he sent it, giving me Mother's Day well-wishings. But this letter, he tells me that he can sense from us the happiness that we're feeling, because when you struggle to free a political prisoner, when you struggle for your country, that energy does transcend across the land. So I just want to read you the one paragraph that he talks about the parades, and he does an analysis of what he says about the parades, about how is it so different and so unique this year. Now you could go to Virtual Boricua, because Marina put it on Virtual Boricua. Where's Marina?
Aquí.
Yeah, Marina put a piece of this in her virtualboricua.org, so you guys can read it. He says, Nunca pensé que el asunto de la excarcelación de un preso político boricua iba a ser incluido en la parada nacional, ni la del Bronx, y que eso pasara en el mismo año. Pero tampoco había pensado que un artista boricua, mejor dicho, 2, Ravi Rosa, acompañó a Ricky Martin, pediría la libertad y justicia para un preso político boricua en la celebración de los Grammys latinos. Pero la campaña en favor de mi excarcelación ha logrado mucho más que lo que las otras campañas anteriores habían logrado. Y ello es el fruto de todo el trabajo que las personas como ustedes, todas las personas aquí, hombres y mujeres, que es el fruto del trabajo de nosotros, porque lo hacemos porque amamos la justicia y la libertad. Y especialmente a los compas que aman a nuestra patria y que quieren verla libre y soberana. Gracias.
Es obvio que los niveles de compromiso y de conciencia con relación al asunto de Oscar están bien altos. Hoy en Puerto Rico todos sabemos que se han hecho muchísimas actividades que han venido a lo largo de las últimas semanas y que hoy han terminado en San Juan para hacer lo mismo que estamos haciendo aquí, que es llamar la atención en la fecha en que Oscar cumple 33 años de estar metido en las cárceles americanas. Nos toca a nosotros los independentistas puertorriqueños trasladar ese entusiasmo y esa fuerza, esa energía al mensaje que Oscar también ha querido llevar toda su vida, que es que Puerto Rico tiene que dejar de ser una colonia, tiene que ser un país independiente. Mientras eso no suceda, probablemente Oscar, Norberto, el otro esta semana pasada, no van a ser los últimos. Esto va a seguir porque los americanos obviamente están en posición de querer humillar a los puertorriqueños. Si los puertorriqueños estamos de pie, cualquiera puede tratar de humillar a quien le dé la gana, pero nosotros no nos van a humillar, ¿verdad que no? Así es que vamos a seguir adelante, vamos a estar en el Bronx, vamos a estar en el desfile puertorriqueño, vamos a estar en las Naciones Unidas y en donde quiera que sea, no solo para liberar a Oscar López, sino liberar a Norberto González y a cualquiera otro que se vea afectado por el imperio americano. Y por supuesto seguiremos luchando por la patria libre, que es lo que el norte de Oscar, de Norberto y de todos nosotros.
Say that the campaign for the freedom, the excarceration of Oscar López Rivera is as broad as it can get. Maybe it can get a little bit broader, but just to say that it's a very, very broad campaign. Figures from all over the political spectrum in Puerto Rico, including statehood advocates, including people who favor the present status, the independence movement, people in the different social sectors that are organized around different issues, all have come out in favor of the excarceration of Oscar López Rivera. On the international level, at the United Nations resolutions on Puerto Rico have repeatedly asked that President Obama excarcerate, release Oscar López Rivera by name and also stating the number of years that he has been in prison. Also on the international level, the non-aligned movement, which encompasses more than 180 countries, has also in its last declaration, in its last summit meeting of presidents and heads of government of the countries that are members, have also in their final declaration stated the request for President Obama to excarcerate Oscar López Rivera, and has also stated the number of years that Oscar López Rivera has been imprisoned. In international organizations, non-governmental international organizations that represent different groups in the different countries, the same thing has happened. The Foro Sao Paulo has done this, the Left Forum, in the panels, that's been done. And in the United States, of course, the campaign is also extremely, extremely broad. What we need to do is, of course, as has been said here before, keep up the pressure, keep up the work, keep up the activities, keep up the work to have more people, broader figures also demand the excarceration of Oscar López Rivera. But I think we really need to say that Oscar López Rivera has become, as in the past political prisoners have been, rallying points of the Puerto Rican people and also rallying points among progressive and even liberal sectors within the United States. So we need to keep up the pressure, because this is what has brought home other political prisoners. This is not the first time, as we all know, that Puerto Rico has political prisoners, and in the past it's been this broad campaign, this ongoing work, the ongoing mobilizations, the ongoing work in the press that has maintained the pressure and finally accomplished our goal of the excarceration of our political prisoners. I think we need to feel proud of the work that everyone has done. Everyone has done work wherever they are, in whatever groups they belong to, whatever sector they work in, to the extent possible. And I think the results are really impressive in terms of the broadness of the call for the excarceration of Oscar López Rivera. But we need to keep up the pressure, because our brother Oscar López Rivera today is 33 years that he's in prison. So just to say those words, and as Benjamin said,
I've worked for a long time on the case of Puerto Rico, the decolonization of Puerto Rico, the application of international law to the colonial case of Puerto Rico for a very long time. And in that scenario, myself and the team of people that we work with at the United Nations and in the international level, we've also done our part. We believe there's a lot to be done. You can always do more. I can always do more. But a lot has been done, and I think it really is a rallying point at this time. So let's keep up the good work and free Oscar López Rivera now.
De pie puertorriqueños que han dado la señal. Despierta de ese sueño que es hora de luchar. A ese llamar patriótico no arde tu corazón. Ven, no serás simpático. El ruido del cañón, nosotros queremos la libertad. Nuestro machete nos la da.